Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. And today we have our resident baseball mom, Jennifer Mayberry. Jennifer, good morning, good afternoon, if wherever you're watching. It's morning right now as we're doing this, right?
Right. Yep.
So
good morning. Good morning to you.
We've got some great stuff coming up here. We're going to talk some baseball, a little fundraising. We got a few things here on the list. But before we get to that, remember, YBMcast always powered by Game 7 Baseball. Game7baseball.com. Get your team in there registered. They got some great stuff showing up already for the spring. They got one last tournament, I think, over in Kentucky. Still got some stuff down in Tennessee. Still happening. They go into in November in Tennessee. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
I was looking at their Halloween, their October one, Halloween. They got 118 teams down there in that tournament.
Wow.
Is that crazy or what?
That's crazy.
In
That's
October.
A lot.
That's a lot of teams. Still playing baseball. You got to love it. So Game7baseball.com, folks. Stay with them all off season. They're great tournament company, Dave and Dave, getting it done. Jennifer, let's talk a little baseball. You guys just finished off a weekend. Is your last weekend, correct?
It was, yes.
And you brought home the hardware.
Yes. Always good to end on a win. That's always fun.
But what was funny is we were talking about this before we started here, folks. 4 games in a row to do that, right?
It was. And it's funny because I can only think, like, I was trying to think back. I know that maybe with our youngest son, we did that one other time where the way it ended up playing out that we had to play that many games, but that's not really your normal day of baseball. So we not only played 4 games to win it, but we played 4 games back to back to back to back. No breaks. There was no concession stands open. So we didn't really have food, no time to go grab. So whatever we had to kind of spread out and make do. So it was an interesting day, exhausting, but at the end of the day, we brought home the ring. So it was worth it.
People running back and forth to the quick trip, right?
Correct. Yes. That's what happened. We were just like, what do you have? Let's get it. And we made them all split everything. We're just like, hurry up. You don't have time to eat. So
yes, we do. So let's talk a little bit about this. We've been talking with our guys, Mitch Thomas. We talk with our resident Matt Shadow. There it is, from Midland Baseball, Coach Perkins. We're talking 14U, 13U, because I think this is the important ages. I don't like to, I look at rankings at the 8, 9, 10, 11, and even 12U as suspect. Not because I don't think these teams are good. That's not it. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's necessary personally.
I agree, actually.
Yeah. If you're good, go out there and put a whoop down on somebody and everybody knows you're good. There you go. Simple as that. And, yep. If you're doing that and you know what you got, then go maybe into some of the other bigger tournaments and you can find out really how good you are. So the power rankings, points rankings with certain groups as far as tournament companies, I understand that because it gives them those tournament points and power rankings and things like that are within those things for the amount of time you've played with a tournament company, which I think is good. Those are all things that are nice. But you played 13U last year. You're 14U coming up this year, correct?
Correct. Yep.
You guys, now the St. Louis Force, are they, I got to get Sal on here and talk to him about what's going on there. So it's not the St. Louis Force anymore.
So there are still some St. Louis Force teams, but some of those teams, him and Jerry kind of teamed up. And so some of those teams that were St. Louis Force are now the U.S. Nationals.
Okay.
So we are still at Champions Village. That is where we train. That's our home base. And the teams kind of are all there together. But Some of the teams remain St. Louis for, some have moved up and are now the Nationals. So yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So you guys being a U.S. Nationals team, you've seen a lot of teams. We've been talking about some of these teams in this area to start with. You may have some insight on some Kansas City teams that you've played and things of that nature. So let's get into this a little bit. Tell me, notwithstanding your guys' team, where would you, what teams are you looking at in this area that you've had trouble with that you think are really at the top of that level?
So it's funny because this weekend we actually just, like they say, got the monkey off our back. We had one team who, they are a good team. They are Gas House, I think is what they're going by now. But I want to say they were a combination of, if I'm not mistaken, but the Titans and the Tigers at our 14U age now kind of combined, and good ball club. And we've played them quite a few times. And of those times, a couple of times they put a whooping on us. And then a few of them, we come back and within one run, we just couldn't get it done. So this weekend, we actually played them in the morning and then played them to get to the championship game. And we ended up beating them. So, but I think they're a good team. But I was like, yes, it was fun to be able to finally be like, okay, check, we got that one done. So
you got a combination of the St. Louis Titans, right? And a Rawlings Tigers squad.
Correct.
That combined and now is Gas House baseball, went over to Gas House. Okay.
But I don't know that they're staying Gas House because the baseball rumors, you know how it is. It's like, well, this is what they're doing right now, but then you don't know at the end of fall if they're going to stay. Are they coming back? Are they going back to their you never know. I can't keep straight with that, but they're a pretty good squad. And like I said, we've played them a bunch of times. They're, great little players. So that's one of them. But I got to tell you, one in our area, a team, and I don't know if this is who you and Mitch were talking about, but the Naturals at 14U, it's the Rogers team that I'm speaking of. They are a good baseball team. They're a good, solid baseball team. They play a lot of baseball. But what I like about them is they're not combinations of teams. They've had some of the same kiddos since 9-10U. They have grown together. And I love that. Not that there's something wrong with teams that do that. That's whatever your prerogative is. But it's fun to see a team that has stuck together, that has worked hard together and keeps growing. And they're a really good team. And they are at our age and they win a lot of tournaments. And I would say in our area, that 14U Naturals team is a good team.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about last time with Mitch. It is a good baseball team. They're solid. They play fundamentally sound baseball. And I think, when you're talking about these at this age level, you've seen enough baseball. You've seen enough baseball at these ages. The team that I think plays through a weekend the most fundamentally sound, especially defensively, executes plays and usually comes out on top when you have really good teams playing against each other. Yes,
it is. And a lot of times it's small ball. Like I know everyone loves the superstar and this and that. And I see teams come in, there'll be a kiddo. We had it this weekend. They come in, they put the t-shirt on 15 minutes before game plays, then they're gone. You don't see them the rest of the week. And you're like, what is going on here? And I really, honestly, from watching, it's not about one or two superstars. It's about a whole team that can play small ball, that are, have good fundamentals. And those teams with the kids that nobody cares about being a superstar, they just want to be team player and as a team grow. I just see that and I look at it differently than a whole bunch of superstars, because a lot of times they want to stand out, where a lot of kids that are just fundamentally good want to be a part of a team and pick each other up at the times because you've got the ups and downs
Yeah.
in baseball. So yeah, I really enjoy, and I feel like this Naturals team is one of them that I watch, that they're not big razzle dazzle. They just are a good, solid team. So yeah, they're fun to watch.
Well, and here's the thing though. I think some of these kids, as you were talking about, that happens. See, and this is the difference, I think, when you start looking at baseball and you get into different levels. When you have these true national teams that are bringing kids from different parts of the country, bringing kids from different parts of states and things, they will show up for one game, put on a shirt, and that's what they do. So I think it's interesting that you bring that up, because it's a far cry from what we see weekend after weekend in a state, in a tournament that we normally play. You might see that happen here and there, as you said, in the fall, you're like, and fall ball probably happens more than in the summertime because, restrictions on rosters and things of that nature, where they're a little looser in the fall. And we understand that because you got kids going everywhere in the fall.
Right. Lots of multi-sport athletes and kids. So your rosters look a little different because they're trying to juggle all those. And that's why I think you see in the fall, which makes sense. But, there are some teams that have come up to St. Louis to play, and that we've also, when we've traveled out of town, we've seen them. And there's a couple teams also that, and I want to say you guys talked about one of them, you and Mitch, Jackson Tribe from Jackson, Missouri. They are a good team. And same thing, like we have seen them play. They are just fundamentally solid all the way through. And so watching some of these teams, and I think I think the Lumberjacks, which is funny because the name cracks me up, but they are really good. And I want to say it's either around, same thing, Cape, some of that area down there. I think they're around there, but they are a good, solid team also. So there are some teams that definitely stand out when I see, look who's coming, and you're looking, you're like, oh, it's going to be a good one. Like we get excited because you're not going to grow if you don't challenge yourselves. You can play the same teams, the same competition, and be scared to move up to that next level. But honestly, you're not going to grow as a team. You got to take a few whoopings to kind of be like, okay, this is where we are. This is what we work on. And once you finally beat those teams that you're taking those whippings from, it feels really good. So,
and I think it's very interesting because you guys, your team, Coach Miller, you're a AAA squad, right? And where would you rank yourselves? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Where would you put yourselves? Say you're looking at just AAA baseball. Where do you put yourselves? You think you're a top 10 team in the local area, in the metro area?
I think personally right now, because we are growing, we last year moved up and played all AAA. So I would say, I don't know about top 10 to be honest right now, but I think we can hang with them. I think that if we played those top teams numerous times, we are going to take a few of them. And I think that we'll grow. And I think that if you ask me the same question in the spring after off-season training, my answer will probably be different. Right now, I don't think that we every game come out and have a airless game. So, but when we do, we can hang with just about anyone at our competition level. So
yeah, and like I said, I think we all agree that St. Louis Naturals team, they're right there. If you look at the majors, as far as the Missouri Gators, the prospects, Don Rogers group there, I think there's an elite Jack Zimmerman's squad from the St. Louis Force on that major side. You've got some teams that are up there a little bit echelon, but if we're talking about right here, it's you guys, St. Louis Impact, that Rawlings Tigers black team. Is that who kind of was the part of that? Was that where that was at?
I'm not sure. I think, and like I said, I'd have to look more into it, but I do know it's a combination of some Tigers kiddos and some Titans kids that kind of merged.
It
and
makes
I think too
sense.
I was going to say too, and I think that recruits team, I don't know if you guys talked about them, but there's a recruits team at our level, and they're really good also. They're at one of those top.
it's in my opinion, in this area, you've got you got Zimmerman's team, you've got the Missouri Gators. There's also the one, if you want to just talk about this area, that Illinois Gators team. That was the 14U team, though, I think, from last year. But and you have the Mo Gators, the recruits.
Yep.
Those are probably the top 5 we're looking at in this area. We discussed that last time, and we're going to talk more because we're going to bring Kansas City into this. But in that AAA level, I think you guys are in there with that St. Louis, and if that St. Louis Impact and that Rawlings Tigers team came together, that should be a pretty good squad. If they pulled some of those kids, that'll be interesting to see how that comes out as far as Gas House. That's great information right there.
Well, here's another thing with it. We last week, and this should tell you that 14U where it's at, which is kind of fun, but it was not this past weekend, the weekend before. On Championship Sunday, I know for sure of 3, and we were one of them, 3 different 14U teams that were battling it out. It went into California rules. I mean, they were neck and neck. That's how level the playing field for the most part. It went into California rules, and that was deciding factor. And some of them went multiple innings in. Now, a whole nother show will have to be my opinion on 14U and California rules, because I'm not a fan, but that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother day. So, but anyway, it happened.
There you go. We'll have to do that. We'll have to talk about that. I love that. And so you're looking at that, with you guys, the Naturals, if that team, that Gas House, the Jackson Tribe, and you've probably got some Gators team, and there's probably some that I'm leaving out here. I know, that you'll probably see some groups coming out of the Missouri Gators. And I know as far as AAA is concerned, we'll just have to kind of see. I want to see how the Trifoletti squad, because you guys have probably played them. Where do you see them in this mix?
Same thing. They are right there with us. We actually, thanks for bringing that up. That's who we lost to in California rules, 2 extra innings last weekend to not advance. But yes, so they're a good squad. They are, they played this last weekend. They're right there. There's so many great teams at that 14U AAA. It's a fun group to play against. Like, there's just a lot of good competition, which is fun.
And that's what it should be. You have the Rawlings Tigers, Coach Cook's team, coming up out of Sullivan, and I think you guys have played them too as well, and had some pretty tight battles with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that AAA level right there in this area is very competitive, right? Mm-hmm. At this age group.
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be interesting. And this is what I talk about when I even talk about rankings. And I think this is what gets into it. And you can agree or disagree with me. Great for conversation. But I think you have, there are those teams that play at that next level. That's why they're called major, and they should. And if you're traveling at 14U and you're putting yourself in that place, fine. But I think that's few and far between, teams that are few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
I think where you really see a lot of the competitiveness, and you can look at the state and see, is at that AAA level. You have good, solid baseball players. You have good kids that are still working, developing their game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot of fun. Agreed?
I do. And you're seeing at this age, this is where you start to see those growth spurts. Those kids start putting on a little bit of height, a little bit of muscle. Like, you see a lot of those changes. So it's a fun age level to watch and to see that competition grow.
And so let's do this. I think that Naturals team at the AAA level here, if we're talking like that, again, I put them up there with those major teams personally. I think they're a good group, and we'll see how they come out of the stack. You guys, along with that Gas House, is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. We'll see what comes from the Bandits. Now, you've played Thornton's team too, the Bandits baseball, correct? Midland Bandits?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where do you see them in this mix?
I think that they're right there. I think they're pretty close to us. Like, I feel like we're, at that competition level. I think that they are playing where they should be playing. There are very few teams that I feel like for right now are at that major level at 14U, a lot at AAA. And there are probably a few teams here and there that I see that probably need to bump themselves up to AAA to start, challenging themselves some. But I think that the Bandits, same thing. I think they're right there where they should be in that AAA, pretty competitive with us.
And I got one more group, and then we'll finish it up here. What about, the Gamers are always a name, the St. Louis Gamers. And, you have the St. Louis Gamers Gray that's going to be moving into that. Coach Ron Strong. Have you guys played that group?
I don't think that we've played them yet. I know who he is. Like, I know the group. I think, I remember his kiddo, but we have not played them yet. So I don't know where they, I just haven't seen them play to be able to say yes, no, either way. But I do know who he is, but I have not seen him yet play.
Now you have another squad here, St. Louis Forest Coach Robinson.
Yes. Well, no, I think that he is not with the St. Louis Forest anymore.
Okay.
I think that was a change in the fall.
Okay.
I think there is, I don't really, I know there's one force level at our age, but honestly, I think that was new as of fall, and I don't know enough on it to speak. So.
Okay. All right. There you go, folks, right there. Just seeing it in person, watching throughout the season, talking about baseball. Jennifer, always great. Always great. I enjoy it. Hey, we're going to come back to this subject as we go through. I think we need to talk. We'll talk more. Want to see what's happening in the off season. We'll see what we can do with some of these squads, and look forward to maybe putting a little Metro ranking, put a little mom's ranking on it, right?
I'll be honest. I'm always very honest. That's one thing. I'm not that mom that sees through rose-colored glasses. So for sure, yeah.
If we're terrible, we're terrible.
Right. We're not. So I can say that, but yeah.
All right. Jennifer, thanks as always. Appreciate it. Oh, what you got coming from Advocare? I mean, I see your shirt there.
We got all kinds of stuff. We just released something new that actually, for anyone that is looking, we have kids vitamins now. I was like, perfect. A little multivitamin, 2 little chewable gummies that just came out. So yeah, now my kids are just like, okay, Mom, put them on the counter every morning now. They're just like, we know it's coming. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, that's something new and exciting. So anytime anyone ever is curious or has questions, they can reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.
There you go. Make sure you follow her. She's on Instagram, Jet 49er.
Yep. Fan. JAT 49er fan.
Instagram, you can follow her there. Hey, if you're looking for some Advocare, something healthy, we've talked about the electrolytes, the Gatorade. It's not Gatorade, but it's better than Gatorade. Spark. I knew I'd come back to it.
Whoop, whoop.
Get yourself ready for next season. Talk to Jen. She'll help you out, guys. All right. Jennifer, thank you very much. Appreciate you being on the show. Hey, everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters, hit them where they ain't, and we'll see you next time.